And while tariffs may hurt some small businesses, they could keep others afloat. Here's Janet Shamlian.
In Bayou Battery, Alabama, some of these shrimping trawlers haven't been out on Gulf waters in years. It hasn't made financial sense due to a flood of cheaper imported shrimp from countries like India and Ecuador.
Well, I tied it up 2 years ago because I just couldn't make ends meet anymore.
Dominic Ficarino showed us one of his sidelined boats.
How has the downturn impacted your business?
I had 12 fishing vessels. Decided it was getting so tough on me, I sold 3, tied up 3. So it put the fishing fleet of mine at 50%.
He also owns the town's biggest processing plant. When he cut back, many in the city of 2100 felt it, including Henry Barnes, who makes shrimp nets.
What have the last few years been like here?
It's been hell. Hopefully we would get some help.
Barnes is also the mayor.
I imagine I'm down to about 50% of what I was 8 years ago.
And you're probably nearing retirement age.
I'll probably have to work a half a day the day they bury me. Honestly.
Now the president's across-the-board tariffs are fueling optimism here.
I mean, just looking at how pretty they are.
Shrimpers say the taste of wild-caught shrimp is superior to farmed imports. And they're unapologetic that tariffs will likely make shrimp more expensive for Americans.
As someone who's likely to benefit from these tariffs, what would you say to Americans who won't benefit?
You can't please everybody all the time, and I don't try to. I mean, if it hurts some people in the United States, yeah, I have sympathy for them, but did they have sympathy for our industry? We've always been at the bottom rung of the ladder, and it's time for that to change.
Foreign competition is not the only issue. Hurricanes and oil spills have also taken a toll at the same time that fuel costs and supplies have risen. The shrimpers that I talked to told me that they knew dozens of other shrimpers who have just sold their boats and gotten out of the industry.
Okay, Janet Shamlian in the Gulf, thank you.
And there's news in the trade war. The United States today ended a tariff exemption for low-cost goods from China. That's a blow to online bargain retailers, including Temu.
But while many businesses are steeling themselves for trade war losses, the American steel industry has a brighter outlook. Elaine Quijano takes us to Wheatland, Pennsylvania, in the heart of steel country.
At Wheatland 2, the new tariff on foreign steel is sparking hopes for the future. The plant manufactures steel pipes and tubing. Barry Zeckelman is CEO of parent company Zeckelman Industries.
If you step into any building, we could be the structure of the building, the plumbing pipe running the water through the building, the piling that's pounded into the ground that the building's foundation is set on. It's everywhere.
To make their product, Zeckelman buys only U.S.-made steel. He believes buying American keeps jobs and tax dollars flowing.
When you say, oh, we can get it cheaper from somewhere else, that's a myth. You get it cheaper because it's subsidized by governments that are trying to destroy our industry.
To protect that industry, President Trump imposed a 25% steel tariff to counter what he says are unfairly traded imports, most subsidized from China.
What if these tariffs are a negotiating tool and they slide somehow?
I think a lot of them are. If the tariffs just slide and we go back to the same spot, then it doesn't work. But if you use them as a tool to open up more opportunities here, I'm fine with that.
After President Trump imposed steel tariffs in 2018, Zeckelman spent over $800 million improving and building 2 new plants.
So this is the new plant?
It is, yeah.
He also hired about 300 additional workers and now has more than 3,200.
Since 2018, we've spent $125 million on this facility.
Those investments made possible by the tariffs include safer, upgraded equipment. Investments that quality engineer John Alentella sees as job security.
It gives me the confidence, moving forward with the future, knowing that I'll be able to, buy a house and build roots and settle down in our community that I grew up in.
CEO Barry Zeckelman is ready to invest more, but says foreign steel imports are still flooding into the U.S. Slowing that, he believes, will require doubling or tripling the 25% tariff on foreign steel.
Right now, some U.S. manufacturers say they're being hurt by the tariffs, and their customers will feel the pain. Jolene Kent is in Los Angeles tonight. Jolene.
Good evening. When we think about these 50% tariffs on steel and aluminum, you often might think of those big ticket items when it comes to cars, trucks, refrigerators, washing machines. But what we found in Van Nuys, California, is these steel tariffs are hitting everyday smaller items too.
We went to the headquarters of Munchkin, one of the most innovative baby brands in the country, where steel tariffs are impacting their biggest products and their smallest.
No one thinks about a baby spoon as a steel product.
Stephen Dunn is Munchkin's CEO and founder.
Tariffs should be strategic. We need a tariff policy that doesn't have the unintended consequences of putting 80% tariffs on a metal spoon.
Dunn says making their popular soft bite baby spoons will cost 80% more because of the 50% steel tariffs plus the existing 30% tax on Chinese imports.
It's a tariff on parents and it's a tariff on small and medium businesses throughout the entire country.
Steel and aluminum tariffs are now the highest they've been since the 1930s. And this week, the global economic group, the OECD, downgraded its forecast for U.S. growth, pointing to tariffs and policy uncertainty. Tariffs affect almost all of Munchkin's 500-plus products. The vast majority are made in China. Dunn says his profits have already taken a hit, and after tariffs were announced, he had to lay off workers for the first time in 35 years. Munchkin is also discontinuing some of its most popular items.
You've stopped ordering these entirely?
It just will become unaffordable if we pass on the cost of the tariffs. It will make it too expensive. We don't believe consumers will pay for it.
Why can't you make these kind of products in the U.S.?
There isn't the manufacturing base, the tooling equipment, the automation.
So how do you run a business?
It's like being blindfolded, throwing darts at a rotating target.
Jolene, there's some new economic data that seems to back up what your reporting is telling you.
That's right, John. When it comes to hiring momentum, it slowed down in May, according to the private payroll provider ADP. In fact, small businesses are bearing the brunt. Small businesses lost 13,000 jobs last month.
And Jolene, what are analysts expecting for the May jobs report? That's a big number, and it comes out on Friday.
Maurice, it's really all about what this number shows. The market is expecting a slowdown from May compared to April. But since tariffs began, we heard from businesses that it would be 60 to 90 days till we started to see the actual real world impact on jobs. And we are sitting at that 60-day mark right now.
Now, the longer the trade war drags on, the more it hurts many U.S. business owners. Ian Lee reports tonight from Merriam, Kansas, just outside of Kansas City.
Many may see just a furniture store, but for Henrik Svensson, it's the culmination of his life's work.
I opened up 4 years ago. I thought it would be the retirement for the kids.
Svensson is closing his store in August. He says the trade war is making the furniture he sells unaffordable to import and for customers to buy.
A sofa like this here, which is from China, we retail it for $19.99. With the tariffs right now, it will be $2,500, and it could be more. It's affected it to the fact that we decided to liquidate everything.
That must have been a hard decision to liquidate.
Very hard.
Could you eat the tariffs? Could you absorb the tariffs?
No. We work with an everyday low sale price.
So the margins are slim?
Yes, the margins are slim.
99% of his furniture is imported. 50% of that inventory comes from China. The rest from Mexico, Thailand, and countries across Europe. But Svensson does sell American furniture.
This is made in America, but how much of the components are made overseas?
A lot of it is made overseas.
So they're not going to be untouched either by the tariffs?
No.
With the store closing, everything must go, as well as his 10 employees, including Henning Mikkelsen.
It is scary to not know what the future, is going to bring.
What are you going to do next?
I am not sure yet. We all have to try and get food on the table.
On a table that with tariffs is likely going to cost a whole lot more.
Well, since the trade war began, we have been bringing you stories of American companies caught in the crossfire. Tonight, Skylar Henry reports the president's tariffs are giving a pillow maker some sleepless nights.
These pillows, filled and sealed for a good night's sleep at this Atlanta warehouse, are one of many things giving Chad Altbaier nightmares.
Planning is practically impossible. Probably the most challenging time of my career.
Altbaier is the CEO of Standard Fiber, the middleman between Chinese producers of sheets, towels, and curtains and American buyers such as Walmart and Target.
We're already having customers that are reducing their order quantities.
When tariffs reached triple digits, retailers canceled their orders from China. Now, with the tariffs at 30%, some of those retailers want goods from China shipped immediately.
You can't walk into a Walmart or a Target or a Costco or a Home Goods and have nothing to sell. The question really is how much product is going to be there and at what price point.
A recent report finds manufacturers are still seeing a decline in orders from customers. Many blame tariffs and economic uncertainty for the drop. With 2 manufacturing sites in the U.S., Altbaier says it's still not possible to move home textile production completely out of Asia. They've moved some production from China to other Asian countries, but Altbaier says that will still cause a large price increase. Being the middleman isn't easy. Revenue losses from tariffs forced Standard Fiber to cut about 45 of its 250 workers.
What keeps you up at night? The not knowing part, and then not being able to control these unprecedented, tariff situations that are frankly wreaking havoc on the world, not just the U.S., and not just our industry.
And despite President Trump making a push to bring manufacturing jobs back to the U.S., Altbaier says that there is a limit on what can be done just because of a lack of infrastructure, trained workers, and raw materials altogether.
The president is also putting a 30% tariff on goods from the European Union, including cheese. As Nancy Chen reports, that could be an opportunity for some American producers.
I mean, it looks just like cottage cheese.
It's brie, trust me.
Off the shores of Lake Michigan, cheesemaker Gilbert Bourgoin is making a famous French variety the American way.
Do most consumers know the difference between an American-made brie and a French-made brie?
No, not really. The process is all the same. The cultures are the same. It's all milk and cream.
His company, Rennie Picot, has been trying to expand in the U.S. for the past 3 decades. And with the trade war raging, they're getting ready to ramp up cheese production by as much as hundreds of thousands of pounds more a year. As consumers navigate rising food prices overall,
a lot of our cheeses are imported from France.
Grocer Stu Leonard told us he's increasingly turning to American producers.
I worry about all our cheeses. Will the customer be willing to switch off of a French cheese to a U.S.-made brie cheese?
Is this an opportunity for American cheesemakers?
I think it's an opportunity, but also there's going to be some hurdles as well for the brie manufacturers. There's not a lot of cheesemakers in the U.S. that make brie, so we're having to pick our battles and trying to find the right person that we could train with our current staff to get them to make the brie.
Despite using dairy exclusively from local farms, Bourgoin says his company is still paying a price for the trade war.
All of our cultures, all of our wrapping materials, and all of our packaging comes from Europe. We also have some cultures and some packaging materials coming from Canada, so the tariffs are going to impact us a little bit.
Consumers are already responding to these changes. Stu Leonards tells us domestic cheese sales are up while sales of imported cheese are down. It's a trend we're hearing from others in the industry as well.
And we do love our cheese. Nancy Chen, thanks so much. Americans do have a sunnier outlook on the economy. Report out today finds consumer confidence rose this month.
Their main concern remains the impact of tariffs. And Jolene Kent reports tariffs are also a big issue for small business.
So this is our sample room.
We visited Stella Perez in downtown Los Angeles. Her fashion business, A Cut Above the Rest LA, makes jeans, tops, and dresses, fulfilling orders from clothing brands across the country.
The zipper is from China. The button is from China. The only thing that we do here, it will be cutting it, sewing it, and washing it.
She says the price of materials and labor have decimated her Made in America business.
the efforts by the White House to bring manufacturing back to the U.S., you've had to lay off 3 workers.
Yeah.
How does that sit with you?
It's heavy because if I get a good contract and they tell me, okay, we're going to give you 100,000 units to produce, I want to say yes. But if I cannot keep with that demand, there's no use.
You can't fulfill it?
No.
A June survey found that over a third of small businesses already feel negative impacts from tariffs. Perez says orders for her garments have dropped by about half since last year. She thinks that President Trump's goal of bringing in more manufacturing jobs is an unlikely promise.
We don't have that infrastructure. We don't have the manpower of the people that are going to be sewing all of those goods here. And at the end of the day, it's more expensive.
Perez tells us she's surviving month to month.
I paid my rent 5 days ago, and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to have the doors open next month.
Small businesses like Stella Perez's continue to face those high borrowing costs, and that's unlikely to change. The Federal Reserve's July meeting kicked off today, and despite major pressure from President Trump to lower interest rates, analysts expect the Fed to hold rates steady tomorrow.
The other big business story today has to do with American railroads. Union Pacific getting ready to spend more than $80 billion to buy Norfolk Southern. So, Jolene, what do we need to know about that?
Maurice, I want to take you to this map right here. Have a look at this. This is Norfolk Southern in the east, connected with Union Pacific here in the west. And if connected, it would create the first ever coast-to-coast freight railway network this country's ever had.
Not a done deal. What's it going to take to make this happen?
Oh, this is going to be a big test on antitrust for President Trump and his administration. Now, these two companies say that if combined, it would actually preserve union jobs and make things faster to ship. But the critics say this could make shipping more expensive.
Okay, Jolene Kent, thank you so much.
Now to Ed O'Keefe. He went to the southern side of the U.S. Canada border to see the impact of the tariffs there.
Resurgence Brewing Company in Buffalo, New York sits just 4 miles from the U.S. Canada border. And owner Jeff Ware has long relied on Canadians crossing over to quench their thirst. But an anti-American boycott north of the border, sparked by the ongoing trade war, means business is drying up.
Probably 15 to 25% down year over year based on the lack of Canadian traffic.
Which is a huge hit, especially this time of year.
Huge.
Tapping into Buffalo's history as a beer brewing mecca during the industrial age, Ware wants to lead a local resurgence.
How does the trade war affect that resurgence?
Well, it doesn't make it easier. This is just another weight on our shoulders that we have to bear.
About an hour away,
so this one was born about 30 minutes ago.
Jack Clapper is a 7th-generation farmer with more than 5,000 cows, pumping out 13,000 gallons of milk a day.
Definitely have seen some rising costs.
As he tries to expand, Clapper's dealing with rising costs of Canadian lumber and steel, slapped with higher tariffs. But beyond Canada, Clapper sees shoots of optimism, thanks to President Trump's new trade agreement with the European Union.
I feel like as a dairy farmer, we kind of won. EU products are now being slapped with a 15% tariff fee coming into the United States.
Now he wants Trump to do more.
We can't ship certain cheeses into Europe because of the name of the cheese. So if we were making Parmesan cheese or feta cheese, we're not allowed to ship that into Europe. But it seems like when there's butter that wants to be imported into the United States from Europe, it's, it's a wide open door for them.
On the farm and in the tap room, both business owners just want Trump's tariff war to end.
Let's come up with a good plan that might take a while to implement, but everybody knows the plan.
Ed O'Keefe joins us now from the White House. Ed, I was thinking about this trade negotiations with the Canadians, and this week it's not just about dollars and cents or economic issues. The president said he's unhappy with the prime minister's decision to recognize a Palestinian state, and that might be a part of trade negotiations.
Yeah, what started off as a trade dispute mostly about automobiles and agriculture is now hung up on disagreements over Middle East policy. But it's not just Canada. The president's also prolonging talks with Brazil. He's already slapped a 50% tariff on that country, in part because he's concerned with how the current government is prosecuting a former Brazilian president who's closely aligned with him. And today, the president was tight-lipped about how trade talks are going with South Korea and India. All of it a reminder that while this was designed to juice the economy in the eyes of the president, he's using this tariff war now to try to extract concessions to meet his personal and policy concerns. John?
Ed O'Keefe at the White House. Thank you, Ed.
U.S. companies, they're navigating these shifts in real time. So we actually went back to one small business we've reported on before to get a snapshot of the impact that this has had.
It is the last day.
Jennifer Bergman is the owner of Westside Kids, an independent New York City toy store founded by her mother.
The toys and the books and the games, they're memories that we all cherish from our childhood.
After 44 years, Westside Kids is closing.
Our ultimate competition is online shopping.
That was her biggest challenge when we met in December. Then the tariffs came.
Where do most of the products in your store come from?
China.
And kind of what percentage?
90%, I'd say.
Big box retailers are better able to absorb tariffs with the ability to buy in bulk and stockpile. By the summer, Bergman's business had taken a big hit.
With the announcement of the tariffs, people just got really scared and stopped spending money.
The most recent CBS News polls show that Americans increasingly believe the economy is good, but the majority expect prices to rise in the coming months.
How much of a factor were the tariffs in that decision?
It was the final nail in the coffin, definitely.
I'm going to look back in this room.
Yeah.
One last time.
Yeah.
What's that going to feel like?
It's going to feel good. We've made a difference to make a child smile, to make a child laugh. And we did that. And we did it for 44 years.
While it may be the end of Westside Kids, Jennifer Bergman wouldn't change a thing.
So I was 14 when this store opened. I'm 58 now. I grew up here. It's my home. Met some amazing people. I wouldn't have wanted to do anything else.
Now, this is one emotional example of a small business that has struggled. At the same time, the administration's trade strategy has brought in $108 billion in tariff revenue through the end of last month. And companies and countries, Maurice, around the world, they've made big pledges to invest in the U.S.
Okay, Kelly O'Grady, thank you.